100 years, 100 voices. A St. John Centennial Oral History project conceived and produced by WSJS Radio, where every day is history.
Good morning. We're in WSJS Radio in Puerto Rico, Condado, the new center of the world. Well, I attended St. John's in 1971.
Okay.
I was here for 14 years.
Okay.
What's your next question?
What do you most remember of being a student here?
Fun. St. John's was really cool. When I was here, school was really small. There were around 40, 45 students per class. Everything was in one big building. We didn't have two buildings then. We only have one building. So St. John's, we had elementary, we had high school, and the cafeteria, the Hurricane Center, that was in the middle. I remember that everybody was friendly with everybody. We had no uniforms, which was cool. We also had where the stadium is now, it used to be a dirt court. In the dirt court, we used to play football, just kicking ball, all those things. We also had sports were always also in the Casino de Puerto Rico. You know where the casino was?
No.
Okay, you know where Blonda and those big building is? You know where Olivia lives, the big building?
Yes.
That used to be a casino. It used to be like a Caparra Country Club, but smaller. And that's where we played basketball. We had a swimming pool. We had parties there. And then we also, the best thing was that you would cross the street and the restaurant used to be called Rotisserie, and you could also get all your Haagen-Dazs, little ice cream, and eat ice cream after the games.
What was your third grade teacher?
My third grade teacher, I think it was Mrs. Chris.
It was Mrs. Chris.
I think it was my third grade teacher. But I do remember that your teacher for third grade
Was this Maya?
used to be Mrs. Donovan. She was my kindergarten teacher. So she has been longer than I think anybody here. I think she can give you a really good history of St. John's, of when it started and everything.
Who are all your friends?
Where are they or who are they?
Who are they?
Well, that's a lot of people. I think the cool thing about St. John's, you have friends in every grade. It was so small, the school, that you have friends. When I was in ninth grade, I had friends in 12th grade, from 11th grade, from 10th grade. I had friends from 8th and 7th. I remember my little brother would show up and play with all my friends in my class, and it was really cool. Every day we'd meet in the cafeteria, and it was fun. It was always a lot of, making jokes. And one thing that's pretty cool. Well, okay, what's your next question?
What were your main school activities?
Well, main school activities was hang out in the Hurricane Center. I love sports, so I did all sports. The cool thing about St. John's, it was so small that if you're an okay athlete, you can play in every sport. You will make every team because there's no many boys. When I was in high school, from 9th to 12th, if you make a guess of 20 kids per class, probably 60 boys, 80 boys were available to try to get a team of 20, of which, or 12, that means of the 80 kids, probably 30 played sports. So in essence, you could always make every team. We played everybody. Sometimes we won, but we're really good in soccer. Really good. We're really good in tennis and golf. But special moments or things I really remember, I remember during senior year we had to do community service. And we went, it was Joaquin Bacarli, Rafa Alvarez, Ralph Christensen, and myself. We ended up teaching elementary school at República del Perú in Lloren Torres. You can see the big difference. And I don't mean the facilities. I mean, I remember when you walked into the classroom, they would lock the classroom with a gate. I remember seeing students that, with pencils, outside their ear, things like that. You could tell that the dynamic of the school is very different. So I remember talking to Ralphie, Joaquin, and Rafa after each of one of their stories, and they're all the basic thing that everybody kept saying was how lucky we are, how blessed we are that we were able to attend not only private school, but a school with a lot of freedoms. Was when you're in private school, I happened to have an experience 3 or 4 years ago. My daughters went to another school first. It was a Catholic school. I had never been outside St. John, so I had no clue what Catholic is. I mean, I go to church and everything, and I went to BC, which is Jesuit, but it's very different when you do elementary Catholic. And it's very structured. It's very rigid. It's very gray, well, something my wife would say, gray. Here, one thing that I do remember is that it's very loose. It's more open. You've got more freedoms. Students study different things. You got arts and crafts that are very important here. Catholic, it isn't. The main reason also we did the switch, kids grow and kids have personalities. You know, some kids are more spontaneous, they're more outgoing. If you're like that, you're gonna have problems in another system. You know, you need kids to be able to grow, you know, to expand their mind. And some schools don't let you do that. You know, they're so disciplined, they're so military, they're so, I guess religion could be too. They don't let you, like, think outside the box. They don't let you expand. And here, I never realized it till now thinking about it, it's very different. You know, here you can pretty much do what you want to do. You want to be into arts and crafts, fine. You want to be outspoken, fine. You want to be just a student academically, fine. There's no problem with that. Another thing that was cool is the size, like I said earlier, how small it is. You were friends with everybody. You know, so you hear stories about the cool kids, the nerds, the athletes, all these different. Here, you didn't really feel that because it was so small. You couldn't separate into little tribes. It was always one big tribe. I mean, you hung out with the brainiacs, you hung out with the cool people, you hung out with the nerds, you hung out. There were so few. You couldn't just. You had to hang out with everybody. And not only just your grade, also different grades. And it was great. I mean, I remember, another thing that was cool is that I was one of those students that went through first grade and had a little issue with first grade. So I was held back for 1 year. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I remember that it was so cool that in high school, the grade ahead of me were all my age. So in essence, I had 2 grades. I was hanging out with a class of 84 and hanging out with a class of 85 all the time. It was like a big, huge class.
What was your favorite subject, like math, science, LA?
Well,
social studies.
Well, I didn't like science. I was more go to science. I liked math. I always liked math. I don't know why. I mean, I liked the teachers, but there was only 1 year it was weird, though. 1 year I was in the advanced physics class, I think it was. It was physics, I think it was, or calculus, I think it was. And we had Mr. Garcia as my teacher. Now, this was a blind teacher, people. Blind. He had a dog and everything. And I was sitting with a super advanced group, which I was surprised I won this group, like 8 of us there. And he would start giving the lecture. And he would, you know, put the origin in the classboard, in the board. But as you know, he's blind, he would put the origin somewhere else. And I would try to follow him. And I could not follow him. And then you would ask a question, and he remembered the whole book he knew it by heart. So he would say the question, like just saying a sentence, blah, 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 blah. So you have to be paying attention to the point you got stuck at in that class. And then if you missed it, he went right through the answer, and you got lost again. So I lasted in that class like 2 weeks. I said, get me out. I couldn't take it. But he was really interesting. And all the students that could follow him said he was the best teacher ever. But that blew me away. That was something that I was like, wow. And in Spanish class, I had Mrs. Higuera. And one thing I remembered, La Mortajada. It was a book that, of course, I did not read, and I was supposed to. And everybody told me what it was about. So when the exam came, I gave a little essay exam, and I did my little invention of what I thought the book was about. But then everybody in the classroom got an F on that paper because nobody got it. That Mortajada was a dead person giving the story. So I didn't feel that bad. But she still gave me, I think she gave me like a C- because she thought my story was pretty cool. Even though she realized I did not read it, she thought my imagination was pretty cool. So that was cool about it. You know, that's one thing about St. John's. You know, it's not always A's, B's, and C's. It's also trying to understand what you're going for. And Let me tell you, I really liked it. I mean, I went to school in the States and small classrooms too. But I mean, when I hear stories about other schools, class of 125, class of 85, I don't get it. I hopefully my kids graduate from here if they don't keep raising tuition. and it will be cool. But I mean, I liked it. It's small and teachers were always helpful. They were always available. My parents were also very in tune to what was going on. My dad was also very involved. My mom was very involved. My mom was always class mother. My dad would also involve Noche Puertorriqueña. He would come with the pigs and roast pigs and help out. No, it was cool. Also, I remember when I was here, we're five in my family. We're five Poes. So Mariana, we have five. As you know, you have five uncles and aunts. At one point, four of us were in St. John's. Then when it came to 6th to 7th grade, my mom was so religious that she would move my sisters to Perpetual. When I got to 6th, they left me all the way through. They didn't take me out. I remember things like putting my surfboard in Mrs. Melendez's office, and she would watch it for us during the school day, because after class we would go surfing again. That was pretty cool. I remember things of like in Noche Puertorriqueña, since I was president of Student Council, I was in charge of getting los lechones and los becerros. So of course all my friends were like, "Hey Carlos, you need help? I can drive." So one day I took Joaquin, Rafi again, Alex I think went, Marky. I mean, we took a lot of guys out of school and we had to go around the island to grab los becerros and los lechones and whatever for Puerto Rican night. St. Joe's was never I don't feel it like that. It was never a status issue. Now it's like some people are bringing the kids like a status issue. That's my feeling. Before it was just school that you thought you liked it. Now it's more like, oh, you know, it's like the it was all simple. Nobody knew what anybody had. Nobody cared. We just had a good time. You know, some people were wealthy, some were okay. Of course, nobody, to be in Centennial, you got to pay the school, so you were not that bad. But nobody really thought about anything. I never realized who did what or what their parents did. Now it's like a big thing. Now everybody's always like, you know, who has the new cell phone or who has the new. In my time, it was all jeans, tennis shoes, a playero shirt. That was it. Any other question?
This was WSGS Radio. Every day is history.
Carlos Poe, class of 1985.